So. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Henry Arena at Tulane Fieldhouse for today's game between the Memphis Tigers and your Tulane Greenway. Now, we ask that everyone in attendance please rise and remove all hats as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem.
After a big win at home on Wednesday, the Green Wave returned to Devlin Fieldhouse here on the campus of Tulane University as the Memphis Tigers come to town, a rematch of last month's overtime thriller, which Tulane was able to walk away from Memphis with a 1-point victory. Take a look at where the conference standings are as we enter this Saturday afternoon of American Hoops. UConn, your lone unbeaten. UCF with that loss against Tulane on Wednesday, now sitting 2 games back of the conference leaders. And of course, Tulane right in the middle of a pack within 2 games potentially of that number 4 seed. Remember, top 4 seeds will get a day in the conference tournament next month. We welcome you back here on our live coverage on the American Digital Network. Lincoln Rose along with Angela Beck. And well, we take a look at, of course, what they accomplished back on Wednesday for Tulane and what could be in terms of the rest of their schedule here if they can continue to build that momentum.
Well, both of these teams are similar in that they have freshmen and sophomores that lead their team, but that's where the similarities stop. Tulane's big win against UCF puts them in a whole different position. That's a signature win. You better believe they're thinking they're going to go to postseason play, and they've got nothing but good things happening here from now on.
See if that does, in fact, continue to snowball into this game with that big victory on Wednesday. As we take a look at the keys to the matchup for Memphis, they shot well back on Wednesday, back at home, but too many turnovers. What do they need to correct coming into today?
Well, their defense gave up too many points, so they're going to have to play some better quarter-court defense. They've got to get back in some transition. They gave up too many layups, and then they also have to push it in transition and create for themselves.
As for Tulane, how do they maximize and capitalize on the momentum coming out of Wednesday's win?
Well, they got to put the pedal to the metal and put full court pressure to defense on them. They've got to push the tempo and also rebound the ball aggressively.
Well, I mentioned Memphis in their loss this past week. They had 2 20-point scorers, including Davis. What will they get from her today?
Well, Davis, she's averaging 12 points and 8.3 boards. You can put that in the books. That's going to happen. She's also the number 3 field goal percentage player in the American at 53%. But she had a big, big game, 21 points, 9 rebounds against their loss to Cincinnati.
And, of course, when Tulane had a hot start to conference, and now with that win against UCF, they relied on Crystal Freeman, the talented youngster who is having the best season so far of her young career.
Well, in the UCF game, 25 points, 10 rebounds, 8 on the offensive end, and 12 points in the fourth quarter to seal the deal.
They'll look to continue their winning ways here at home in New Orleans. Green Wave and Tigers collide next here on the American Digital Network.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same. To blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones. Not just to learn, but to experience. To create, solve, build. To explore and express. To lead. Because an education isn't something you get. It's something you do.
When everything's a little different, one thing remains the same. The chance to make a real difference. Because the norm here is anything but. Every day our volume grows. Every moment a bit more colorful than the last. From a city that's 300 years old, we inspire things that are entirely new. Because that's what creates the change the world desperately needs.
We welcome you back inside Vogelman Arena in Devlin Fieldhouse. Lincoln Rose, Angela Beck with you as, again, these two teams in Memphis last month went to overtime. In that overtime matchup, we saw Freeman play 42 minutes. Crystal Freeman, what a bright spot she has been for Tulane this year. Of course, Erin Gutierrez now gets her second career start after being brilliant in that victory over Wednesday when she made her debut in the starting five. And for Memphis, well, you had both Davis as well as Schutz scoring 20 points in that ball game. First time they've had two 20-point scorers all season long. For the first time today, right before tip here, chance to introduce the third member of our broadcast crew, Katie Morse, courtside.
Thank you, Lincoln. It's always an interesting one when these two teams meet, and today's going to be no different because they're going to be led by underclassmen. For the first time all season, Coach Stockton for Tulane is starting 5 underclassmen. And for the Memphis Tigers, Jamira Schutz is making her mark. She has led her team in scoring more than any other freshman in the league. It's going to be a battle of the young guns here today in New Orleans. Lincoln?
Yeah, Jamira Schutz, 13.7 points a ball game. Your leading freshman scorer in this conference. 7th leading scorer overall in this league. Tulane in pink, Memphis in black. And Memphis, just like they did back on Wednesday, able to strike early in this one as Jada Stinson able to connect from downtown.
Good ball movement, cross-court pass. She just drills it.
And Tulane able to answer with a pair from Freeman. Crystal coming off her career high 25 points against the Knights the other day. Registered her 7th double-double on the year, adding 10 rebounds. And another open look. Jamira Schutz just off the front of the iron. The offensive board down to Herndon. What an impressive freshman year it has been for Schutz. She grew up an hour away from campus. They're in Brownsville, Tennessee. And this time they'll throw it away. Empty-handed are the Tigers as they get back on defense.
I think more than anything, Memphis just wants to come out and be extremely aggressive here early on.
Well, they had the right idea, but the defense there from Brianna Porter with the block shot. And a Green Wave will stick with it. Tulane with its first lead here early on.
Well, it's a nice drive to the hole, and one thing that they have had trouble doing is getting to the free throw line, so they're being overly aggressive getting to the hole so they can actually get some free throw calls.
Well, 15-footer won't go. Transition defense for the Tigers, able to slow down the Green Wave for the moment, and then a turnover a moment later. Well, again, Memphis lost at home back on Wednesday. We had that game right here on the American Digital Network, but they played well in various elements. It was just near the end, had too many turnovers.
Yeah, they did. They just had a couple spots where, you know, they let them have a run or two, and then those runs just started catching up.
And, of course, Cincinnati was on fire from beyond the three-point line. Both teams shot around 50% for the ball game. Now it's Tulane forcing another miscue. Inside, little off balance, still able to get it to go. A little hometown roll for Hyde, the freshman.
Now, this has been a big lineup change for Tulane with Gutierrez, Jones, and Hyde in the starting lineup.
Mia Hyde out of Austin, Texas. And a moment later, Erin Gutierrez guilty of rolling up the player from behind. Well, Melissa McFerrin in her 11th year at the helm, former point guard over at Missouri in her playing days. She's already signed 5 recruits. Really excited about next year's incoming class. 4 4-star players, another 3-star player. Bright future ahead. Of course, all that talent will combine with her sophomores and freshmen leading this year's squad.
Yeah, she was a great guard in her own right. She took her team to the Sweet 16, and she was a scholar athlete, a Big 8 honorable mention guard. So she knew how to play herself a little bit.
Schutz will send it back up top as Stinson resets things. Stinson, quick release. And the left-hander just won't go down. At Hyde, another rebound. Again, the 6'3" freshman for Tulane.
Well, I like Stinson pulling the trigger on that. They need a few more people scoring besides Schutz and Davis, and so that's not a bad look.
And instead of a tie-up, they do get the foul. Of course, Lisa Stockton, over 500 wins in her career, former Demon Deacon in her playing days at Wake Forest. She has led Tulane through 3 different conferences, 4 tournament titles, and 11 NCAA appearances, plus 7 additional trips to the postseason in the WNIT. And again, saw her team with a big win the other night. Now, Tulane, a few minutes ago, got a big assist from USF, as USF able to knock off Tulsa. And again, this crowded pack, there is still a lot of opportunity ahead to move up towards those top 4 seeds.
Well, with 5 games left in the season, you know, they can still get 20 wins. 20 wins puts you in the postseason, or 19 wins puts you in. So, I mean, they're looking at what's going to happen in that 3rd season. And at this point, both teams want to get playing well. They did obviously play well against UCF. Can they put a back-to-back together? That's the question.
This is an all-time series that Memphis leads 27-21. But the last couple have gone the way of Tulane, including last year. Tulane ended Memphis' season in the conference tournament. Able to tie her up. Nice job defensively stepping in. Again, the Green Wave rocking the pink today. Memphis in the black. Memphis had its Play for K game back on Wednesday. Tulane sporting the pink here today. Of course, all this in memory of the late Kay Yao, and of course her efforts with the Kay Yao Foundation, raising awareness not just for breast cancer, but trying to help battle all forms of cancer that affect women. Shoots, a little hesitation. And an offensive rebound back down to Davis. Jamira in, and a beautiful dish at the last second, but Davis a little far underneath the basket. Will be bailed out by the foul. I believe they'll have it on Sierra Cheatham.
In that series, Davis and Schutz combined on a couple different levels. One when Davis followed Schutz' miss and then pulled it back out. And this time when Schutz comes in, dishes down to Davis for the score. 1-2 combination.
First free throw good for Davis. Again, 8 double-doubles this year for the sophomore. She goes 1 for 2. Davis came off the bench against Tulane in their last meeting at the end of last month. Would still find 14 points and 12 rebounds, the double-double in the effort.
I mean, she has great hands. She's a good rebounder. I mean, she obviously can finish, ranked in the top in the conference in field goal percentage. She's really come a long way.
And there's your plan A every time. Entry feed right into the paint, and the easy put up delivered by Freeman. Pardon me, I should say by Schutz.
That's Schutz with the rebound, playing both ends now.
They'll work it over to Jones. Jones, the New Orleans native. And they'll call a walk. Give Herndon a little credit there, as that'll send us to a timeout. 5 minutes to go here in this opening quarter, as Tulane up by 4, and a chance for us to check back in with Katie Morse.
Thank you, Lincoln. It's shaping up to be a great day of basketball here in New Orleans, and we want to know where in the world you are while you're watching the game. So tune in on Facebook and comment and say where you are while you're watching. Lincoln?
Thank you very much. Great to have the interactive element on our broadcast all year long. We'll have some trivia for you a little bit later on. But right now, all you need to know, Tulane up 8-4 early in this one.
At the American, we know that power isn't for the faint of heart. Power is reserved for the go-getters, the team players, and those who are hungry for victory. We know power because we are power. Join us for the 2019 American Athletic Conference Women's Basketball Championship, March 8th through the 11th at the Mohegan Sun Arena in Uncasville, Connecticut. More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni. Rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American, powered by determination.
Powerful minds, strong in mind,
strong in body.
The American is dedicated to promoting success
through a healthy, powerful mind.
If it is okay to seek help
for injuries we can see,
then it needs to be okay
to seek help for injuries
we can't see.
Mental health awareness is important because I think a lot of times it goes unnoticed in college athletics.
We look after our bodies, and it's just as important to look after our mental health.
It's time to end the stigma
related to mental health
and seeking help. End the stigma.
Tulane up right now 8-4 as the Green Wave, with 5 minutes to go in the opening quarter, the advantage. Katie Morse just got done inviting you on Facebook to tell us where you're viewing from. Some folks who may not have a chance to chime in over there at the ballpark in Tulane, a chance to close out the series today against George Washington. Best of luck to the Tulane baseball team, as they actually have us up on their video board out there in left field. That game gets started first pitch around 4:30 today. So a nice second portion of a doubleheader here on campus of sorts. Lincoln Rose, Angela Bent, Katie Morse with you here on the American Digital Network.
A little bit of a slow start here for Memphis, just struggling to find a way to score. Had one shot here early on the outside, but basically nothing going yet.
Brianna Porter able to hold her ground defensively. This ball tapped around. And the other way with Jones. And she'll be helped out by a whistle against Memphis. As shoots rejected by Cheatham.
Well, Schutz is getting a little bit of a reputation. When she goes in, everyone knows that she's pretty much not passing it. She's going to be taking it, although she did pass one earlier. But, I mean, literally, she's going to get a lot of attention when she drives the lane now.
Thanks in part to that block shot, Memphis is 0 for its last 9 shots here in New Orleans. Again, Tulane in pink, Memphis in black. We've already seen both teams go to their bench for 3 players. And again, there's some determination paying off for Jamira.
Well, Schutz in the last game they played, I think they ran about 10 isolations for her late in the game, and she just went to the rim every time. And so I think it's really given her a lot of confidence to do that now.
And the foul will keep it. And the foul will keep it here after they were applying some pressure to the freshman Dinah Jones. Well, a couple of Tulane players had some career highs against Memphis, thanks in part to playing overtime last month. Tatiana Lofton in that game came off the bench for her career high 17 points. As you see a breather here for Jones.
Yeah, she and Crystal Freeman.
Yeah, Freeman.
16 points. 10
double-double at the time, 16 and 10. Had the game-tying layup in that ball game. Give Buchanan credit for holding her ground defensively. Freeman eyes in the back of her head.
Yeah, shoots, lost the handle to the ball.
Going inside, and Harlan Wyatt out of Atlanta, the senior, one of the elder statesmen in today's ball game.
Well, both teams are looking for pretty quality shots. They're going to the rim. They're not settling for the three right now, which is good for both.
Memphis shooting just 2 for 12 in this ball game. Make it 2 for 13, but second chance opportunity. Putback won't go for White. And we've got another tie-up.
Yeah, that's Buchanan there kind of showing her force. She grabs and says, not today.
Again, she is part of this theme of freshmen. She's out of Talladega, Alabama, from Talladega High.
They're bodying up inside a little bit right now.
Shoots and White passing it back and forth. You have Jasmine James on the court right now with Memphis, along with otherwise nothing but sophomores and freshmen. Tulane up by 4. A little over 2 minutes to go in this opening frame. The rebound will come down to James, the Canadian, in her final year.
Well, both teams have struggled here as of late with, Tulane losing 6 of 7 prior to the big win against UCF. So it's, both are still trying to find their way here as we go down the home stretch. Trying to figure out who's going to, step up and shoot and fill some holes that they've got.
Obviously just a 2-score ball game right now, despite the fact that Memphis has made just one of its last 14 shots. Shoots inside to Buchanan. Now she's just padding her stats. Got the extra rebound, the putback good, and a free throw coming up for Camille.
Well, she's just averaging 1.4 points per game, so she's really going in there to give a big body in the middle, try to get some rebounds. She's not really known for her scoring yet, but obviously she's got the framework to make it happen in the future here.
Camille was not among the 9 Tigers who saw playing time in that overtime matchup with Tulane. That was back on January 30th. Ultimately 62-61 final for the Green Wave in Memphis. Melissa McFerrin had the benefit of a veteran staff returning this year. Danielle O'Banion in her 6th year. Jessica Boji in her 5th. Along with the return of Nitra Perry. Quick release, but off the mark out of the right hand of Manu Idirungi. Kayla Manu Idirungi out of New Zealand. Arrived back in December to enroll early for last year. Well, mid-range stroke is good. Again, Mia Hyde, the freshman.
Well, she's averaging 11 minutes for the year, but her contributions in the last couple games have been big. That was a nice little step-back shot by the big girl.
And a brief numbers advantage opportunity. Not going to last for long. Need to beat that clock and able to get it across the timeline.
Great pestering defense by Jada Stenson there. Green defense by Jada Stinson there.
Stinson almost getting her hand on that one. Matched up with Anderson. And Buchanan's had some good minutes here in the opening quarter.
Every time Buchanan does something, that bench goes crazy.
And Memphis just can't knock it down. Shot clock turned off for the rest of this first period of play. And a half-court opportunity coming up. So Tulane will take a 4-point lead into the second quarter. Crystal Freeman leading the way with half of the Green Wave's points as Memphis comes to town on this Saturday afternoon in New Orleans.
This is our game, our moment, our time. We work hard and play harder. We stay loyal to the game and to our team. We are power, American power. The American, powered by determination.
Scores!
3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year. Quaso from 30!
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Strong in mind, strong in body, strong in school, sport, life.
The grind is 10% physical and 90% mental.
The mind is the power.
The body is the means to jump higher, run faster,
be smarter, and live longer.
There is no weakness when it comes to seeking help.
We are stronger together.
So let's talk about it.
A waterfall starts with one drop.
Change starts with one person.
The American is dedicated to ending the stigma related to mental health.
And promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Tulane wearing.
Thanks, Lincoln. We've seen Crystal Freeman score 6 points so far, and she has improved her game dramatically from her freshman to her sophomore season. So fans, we have a question for you. How many times this season has Crystal Freeman scored in double figures? We'll have the answer later in the game.
And not just scoring in double figures, but last year, no double-doubles. This year, Crystal recording her 7th double-double on the year. Back on Wednesday against UCF. For Memphis, they have seen some close games slip away from them, and even though some things haven't all gone their way, they've been in ball games, and this is another one right here, a slow start for both teams. It's a winnable game here for the Tigers on the road.
Yeah, they have. I reflected on their entire schedule. They've had some heartbreaking losses and some tight ones that could have gone either way. It just gets down to the little things, and defense is one of them right there. Just you got to get a hand in Schulte's face there. You can't let her just, rock and fire it from inside the paint.
Meredith Schulte able to connect with her first 2 points, and the Tigers able to answer with their first opportunity from Davis.
Well, Davis's tenacity is going to be key to if they can pull off a win here. And when she gets mad, everyone gets behind her, and that was a good rebound, good read there on the steal too.
Foot race, Stinson. And a quick 4 points for Memphis here to pull back within 2.
I think someone had a little talk to Stinson before this game because she's really been active.
Data out of Elizabethtown, Kentucky. Made about half of her starts this year.
That was good help rotation from the weak side. Herndon came down on the weak side here. Jada is off on transition, going right to the rack off the steal.
Jasmine Herndon, the Memphis native, getting to play for her hometown school. A junior with one more year to go. Comes from Douglas High School in the Memphis area, but started off at the JUCO ranks. Still one more year of eligibility, but has really been someone that Melissa McFerrin can rely on, whether it be in the starting five or coming off the bench this season as a junior. Shot clock melting down. 3 seconds left. Able to get rid of it in time, but ultimately the rebound to Hyde.
First we've seen a Gutierrez actually handling the quarter court here for them.
And another turnover. Herndon trying to take it the other way. All of a sudden, Tulane's been bitten by the turnover bug. They've had 3 in the past minute and a half start this quarter. But the Tigers will give it back.
Yeah, just the passing angles. That angle of that pass, she was double teamed on the block. There's no pass there.
Inside, and just a nice job holding her ground by Brianna Porter without committing the foul there for Memphis. Shoots, slips it into a gear. Davis, the putback, will have to go to the free throw line to come away with points.
There's a little lid on the basket, but there's a lot of effort going on the floor. Both teams are really scrapping it out. There's a lot There's a lot of bodies flying around. I think the officials are letting them play pretty aggressively. Just there's a little bit of a lid on that basket.
So Davis, the only player to attempt free throws today for Memphis, was one of her first 2. One more chance here.
One of the things Memphis is trying to do is score more points. Unfortunately, first quarter, only 8 points. You know, you want to get double digits in your quarters and try to stay consistent. So they need to turn it up a little bit offensively. I think they've got to get Davis more involved in their quarter court action. They've got to get the ball in her hands.
You just saw Jamira Schutz came off. She's just 1 of 6 from the floor to start today for her 2 points.
Well, it's not all her fault. I'll credit Tulane for making sure she doesn't get a lot of points.
I'll work it into Hyde. Got her own rebound. The putback and free throw coming up. And I think we saw a little flex there from Mia.
Well, yes, I think you did. And I liked the cut. And I liked how she kept it up strong. And she came back. And when she rebounded it, she did not bring it down. She put it right back up. And that just shows a lot of mental toughness there for that.
Her first trip to the free throw line. Mia's got 4 points, 3 rebounds, already 2 blocked shots here in her first 8 minutes. And we'll be just happy with 2 points on that possession. Memphis could tie it here if they can connect for the first time from beyond the arc. Well, good vision, but again, Tulane able to clean things up around the basket. That time, the block from Cheatham. Stinson eyes up court. And that's just a tad too much of a challenge for White to track down.
Well, that's a couple turnovers here right in the last couple minutes here. It's a little sloppy.
6 turnovers for Tulane, 4 for Memphis.
I like Hyde's passing ability too. If you watch her off ball, she continually keeps the ball moving. She moved it up in transition. She's really a good passer for a big girl.
Rudy White commits the foul and immediately subs out. And Jamira Schutz back on. And they're going to get that nudge from Jasmine Herndon.
Well, Erin Gutierrez only has one speed, and it's go. And so if you're going to try to trap her, she's going to go. She's not going to stay in that trap. So you better keep moving your feet, and you didn't. So she drew the foul.
Again, Erin had not started all year long. Lisa Stockton puts her in the starting 5 on Wednesday. They come away with a big win, ending a little bit of a skid this year. And she makes her second straight start today. She responded with 10 assists back on Wednesday in that victory.
Well, last time we saw her play, she went in late in the game and she kind of pressed her offense and kind of looked a little bit off. And I was like, well, maybe she's got it. And I guess they're just finding it. You know, she probably pressed it too much early on, and now she's finding a rhythm.
Of course, she has the benefit of working with a former Tulane point guard, as Leslie Vorpal is back with the program this year as a graduate assistant coach. She's been rehabbing a knee, played professionally last season before getting injured, and Lisa Stockton didn't have to twist her arm very hard to say, come back, get a master's, rehab, and get some coaching experience as well to help out your alma mater.
I absolutely love that when great players come back and help their programs, and coaches like, you know, like Tulane's coach just comes back and gives them the opportunities, because that's how, you know, we keep coaches, women coaches in the game. And I wouldn't be surprised if she ends up being a head coach someday.
Leslie had been playing over in Romania before getting hurt, but really brings a lot of energy to that bench and that staff.
I'm sure energy and tenacity. She was not somebody that would back off anything. So I think Erin plays with a little bit of that tenacity.
It's a brand new ball game. Memphis was able to tie it up at 16, and now Memphis with the stop on the opposite end.
Well, this is a much more inspired Memphis team. The bench is more alive than I've ever seen it. Everyone's fired up. Look at she got her feet planted. She got set up. Jasmine James, she's had a big game last time. She had 14 points, 12 rebounds against Tulane the last time they met, and she came to play.
Jasmine James mentioned the senior stepping in to take the charge. She's a really bright young woman, one of the academic top 30 student athletes on campus for Tulane, and one of 7 players with a 3.0 or better for this women's basketball program alone.
That's another unforced skip pass, so I would have a little conversation about how long of a skip pass you're going to allow your team to do, because they're throwing that skip pass at the heart of the defense, and it's getting picked off.
Gutierrez. Jones in for a closer look. Hand in the face from Schutz. Still able to drain the bucket.
All right, stop the truck. That's a big-time play right there. Big-time play. Little hanging, little spin move. She hangs up and drills it off the rim.
Now, when Schutz puts her palms to the sky, is she asking, how did that go in? Or is she asking, how did I get that foul call?
Exactly.
Throw coming up for Tulane, back up by a pair.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones. Not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
When everything's a little different, one thing remains the same: the chance to make a real difference. Because the norm here is anything but. Every day our volume grows. Every moment a bit more colorful than the last. From a city that's 300 years old, we inspire things that are entirely new. Because that's what creates the change the world desperately needs.
Scores!
3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year. Hueso from 30!
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle, a big save, a clutch hit,
or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
Officials,
student athletes,
Coaches and team representatives.
power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
Profanities or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
Power for life.
The American, power for life.
The American, power for life.
Well, some youngsters in Hyde and Freeman leading the way for Tulane with 6 points apiece. They're back up by a pair. Again, we take a look here as we enter the final couple of weeks of conference play. I mentioned USF. It's not reflected just yet, but USF is now 4-7. They beat Tulsa, who's now 5-6. So there's an opportunity here for Tulane to all of a sudden leap up all by themselves into 5th place and knock on the door of perhaps a first-round bye in the conference tournament.
Yeah, that is huge because if you can take the place of Houston and, you know, put pressure on them to move up the ranks and get that first round, you know, where you can rest and get prepared, it's all good.
So again, the shot was good for Jones, and the extra point splits the uprights as well. As Tulane back up by 3 after Memphis had tied at 16 all. For Memphis, again, how often have we been talking about early foul concerns? Right now, Herndon, White, and Porter all with 2 fouls apiece. And there's your first triple on the day, and it comes from Jada Stinson.
Yeah, that's the same similar shot she had earlier and that she made, but just a little shorter. But that's her side. That's what she likes, and she's a good shooter from there.
I should say first triple from Stinson. As she joins a couple of her teammates. Shoots. Gutierrez, as advertised, racing up the floor. And Jamira with the rebound. Battle inside, and that time Davis gets the better of the exchange with Hyde.
I like that because that's like the first time I've seen that for a really long time. Somebody throwing the ball to Davis on the block. She has been open. It's just that they're not taking their time to see it. That's money in the bank.
It gives Memphis its first lead since they scored their first trip down. But Dinah Jones, a little deja vu with the score, and goes back to the free throw line. Again, New Orleans native here.
Oh yeah, she's coming around. She's just a freshman too, and she's averaging about 6.7 points in conference play.
And that's a nice cheap foul to get on shoots.
Yep, she just did it up and under and pretty much just hung in there to get it. She's a lefty.
As Tulane will inch back ahead by 1. So now Schutz joins Herndon on the floor right now with 2 fouls apiece. And on the bench right now for Memphis, White and Porter each with 2 fouls. For Tulane, only Crystal Freeman with a pair of fouls, and she's on the bench at the moment. I say only because there's just one player, but obviously that's a big loss right now for the home team. As able to step in and pick off that pass, Sierra Cheatham.
Yeah, Cheatham's a good defensive player for him, and she just lured her into that.
Hyde unable to knock that one down. The rebound to White. It's the 3rd straight game we've seen where Melissa McFerrin has to weigh the pros and cons of playing players who pick up 2 quick fouls in a ball game. Davis about to go to the line. We saw against ECU a week ago it be a concern, and she went conservative like many coaches would.
I mean, this is a little nifty play there. Davis walking the tightrope to come around and do the up and under.
ECU able to take advantage last weekend, and then we saw Melissa McFerrin go ahead and trust some of her players to be smart in their game against Cincinnati.
Well, this is a different team than we saw against Cincinnati. Of course, Cincinnati's a formidable opponent. I'm not taking anything away from them, but there's a lot more energy on this floor than I saw even when they were at home.
I think Cincinnati had 9 triples by halftime. Right now, that's not a part of Tulane's game. They're 0 for 3. And right now, Memphis with a 2-point edge and able to come up with a stop. The rebound down to Herndon. Oh, fired down low, extra pass to Davis, coming in for support.
Well, that's a tempo that I love to see Memphis in. That was that they did the push and they got the pass in and let the big girl handle it.
Biggest lead of the day for the Tigers here on the road. And going up strong for the rebound, Jasmine James. Got the rebound on one end, going to the free throw line here on the offensive half.
Yeah, Memphis is one of the best 3-point field goal percentage defensive teams in the league. And they're showing off a little bit. They really are stopping Tulane from getting their rhythm from 3-point range.
Saw Lisa Stockton in this Tulane group got off to a 3-0 start. Before UCF, their previous win had been at Memphis against this group in that overtime game. They've had their ups and downs, some streaky play for Tulane. Memphis trying to snap a skid right now. So Gutierrez and the Green Wave find themselves down by 5. Aaron mid-range, tad strong. But the offensive rebound hauled in by Jones. And could not get that one to climb up and over the rim. Great job tracking it down for the rebound from Rudy White. Memphis has made their last 3 shots, part of a 6-0 run. James lobs in. Davis does what Davis does. And a free throw coming up.
Well, James doesn't always look smooth in her delivery, but that's a high intelligent pass there. She just gets it and tosses it where she can handle it. Just get it anywhere near Davis, and she's gonna haul it in.
The foul on Cheatham.
Give the big girl some touches.
Right on the mark. Just like that, with half a minute to go in this opening half, Memphis out to an 8-point lead. Again, a lot of this is with Crystal Freeman on the bench for Tulane with 2 fouls.
But great defense. They're only letting them to be one and done. They're not giving them second shots. So Memphis really has come to play and put a good quarter together here. Let's see if Davis touches it.
Tigers a chance to hold for the final shot.
She got
Davis passes out of the double team, but they'll come away empty-handed. Memphis closes the first half on a 9-0 run. They outscored Tulane 22-10 to take the advantage into the locker room here on the road. Melissa McFerrin has to be pleased with how Memphis took care of business, facing some early adversity in this one.
Yeah, excellent job by Memphis. They came out ready. They got the ball where they needed to. They had the points in the paint, which they didn't have in the last game. So they were taking quality shots.
And there are consequences to leading at halftime. She has to join us as let's toss it to Katie.
Coach, so last time you faced the Green Wave, overtime, fought hard but lost. What are you going to take away from that game to come into today?
That was probably the most disappointing game we played all year because we knew we were 1 rebound away from a win. And I think our players remember that right now. But you know what? Tulane's playing great defense. We had a nice little spurt there in transition, opened up a little bit of a halftime lead, but we know it's going to be a really tough second half.
And Elena Davis seems to be having a day. What does she need to continue to do in the second half?
Well, I thought early in the game she just got caught a little bit low, and now she's doing a much better job staying on the top side of the backboard and not getting blocked from behind. So we just need her to keep doing that.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Of course, the rebound, they couldn't get a game-tying layup from Crystal Freeman to force overtime. Their last meeting, Freeman was on the bench for half of this first half. We'll see her in the start of the third quarter. Memphis on the road, up by 8.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones, not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
Basketball days are over. My dream is probably to be a CFO of a company somewhere, any company really. The emoji I probably use the most is the probably the 2-eye emoji, just the eyes emoji, because I like to be like, you know, it's some sketchy stuff going on. So I love horses. I grew up around horses. I love riding horses. So definitely riding horses and being around horses is my secret talent / interest. The best advice I've ever received would definitely be every day you wake up, you have a clean slate. So every day you get to wake up and make your own reality, whatever you want it to be. You get to wake up every day and be something different if you want. It means everything to me to put on Memphis. I'm not originally from Memphis, but I kind of grew up in Memphis, so I take pride in putting the Memphis across my chest every time I walk out there. Go Tigers, go!
When everything's a little different, one thing remains the same: the chance to make a real difference. Because the norm here is anything but. Every day our volume grows, every moment a bit more colorful than the last. From a city that's 300 years old, we inspire things that are entirely new. Because that's what creates the change the world desperately needs.
My dream is probably to go back to New Zealand and create a basketball academy. Growing up, I didn't really have a pathway to get to college, and it was always my dream. So to create a pathway for younger kids to get to America with aspiring dreams. So when I represented my country, New Zealand, I would have the same feeling when I put the Tulane jersey on. It's just a lot of honor, and realizing that people that came before you, that the hard work that they put in to wear this jersey is a huge honor, so you have to wear it with pride.
What emoji do you use the most?
Laughy face.
What emoji describes you the best?
I hope laughy face. I love to sing. I sing a lot in the shower. It's just a beautiful word. Yeah, that's all I got. Yeah, thanks. That was not my finest. I'm good in the shower, I promise.
We can do another take if you want.
I'm good, I'm good.
All right.
At the American, we know that power isn't for the faint of heart. Power is reserved for the go-getters, the team players, and those who are hungry for victory. We know power because we are power. Join us for the 2019 American Athletic Conference Women's Basketball Championship, March 8th through the 11th at the Mohegan Sun Arena in Uncasville, Connecticut. More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American, powered by determination.
Powerful minds, strong in mind, strong in body. The American is dedicated to promoting success
through a healthy, powerful mind.
If it is okay to seek help,
For injuries we can see, then it needs to be okay to seek help for injuries we can't see.
Mental health awareness is important because I think a lot of times it goes unnoticed in college athletics.
We look after our bodies, and it's just as important to look after our mental health.
It's time to end the stigma
Related to mental health
and seeking help.
End the stigma.
Halftime back here in New Orleans as Tulane trying to continue a successful run at home. We take a look at the conference as a whole. This past week, the league, of course, announced its newest player of the week, freshman of the week, your player of the week out of UConn, of course, Nafisa Collier.
Well, they're all fighting for that player of the year position there on the UConn's team, but she leads the American in scoring at 19.8 points, leads the American in rebounding with 10 boards. She's a top 10 finalist by the Basketball Hall of Fame for her position, so she's getting it done.
UConn, of course, alone unbeaten atop the standings here in the American. And as for your freshman of the week for this past week's events, you look no further than the talent up there in Philadelphia from Temple. It's Marissa Mackins.
Well, her win over Houston, she had 12 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. And also she had double digits against UConn, so she's third on scoring for that team, and that's one reason they're in 4th place.
Marissa Mackins, your freshman of the week in the American. Nafisa Collier, your player of the week in the American. Congratulations to both. First half highlights and stats here in New Orleans when we return.
Scores 3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year.
Cueto from 30.
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Strong in mind, strong in body, strong in school, sport, life.
The grind is 10% physical and 90% mental.
The mind is the power.
The body is a means to jump higher, run faster,
be smarter, and live longer.
There is no weakness when it comes to seeking help.
We are stronger together.
So let's talk about it.
A waterfall starts with one drop.
Change starts with one person.
The American is dedicated to ending the stigma related to mental health.
And promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
This is our game, our moment, our time. We work hard and play harder. We stay loyal to the game and to our team. We are power, American power. The American, powered by determination.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle, a big save, a clutch hit,
or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
officials,
student athletes,
coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
Power for life.
The American, power for life.
The American, power for life.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones, not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
When everything's a little different, one thing remains the same: the chance to make a real difference. Because the norm here is anything but. Every day our volume grows, every moment a bit more colorful than the last. From a city that's 300 years old, we inspire things that are entirely new. Because that's what creates the change the world desperately needs.
Tigers hit 4 of their final 5 shots of the opening half. Have themselves an 8-point lead in New Orleans. Again, it was just a 1-point overtime affair when these two teams met at the end of last month. Tulane grabbing that win. We already heard from Melissa McFerrin mentioning how disappointing that loss was. Heartbreaking to see it slip away. Well, they have a chance here to split the series as we take a look at the highlights from the opening half.
Well, it was a Stinson and Davis show. Stinson from the outside. She hit 2 good threes. Shoots, obviously, you know, she gives them the power of taking it to the basket and getting a few shots. She didn't have the greatest half, but she does so many different things for them. But it was Davis inside, 14 points. People going to her time and time again, and she made some things happen with that.
14 points in 15 minutes for Davis to help lead the way for Memphis, a team that only plays 8 players in that first half. But Melissa McFerrin has to be pleased with this rotation. Meanwhile, Tulane, they led a lot of that opening half. Crystal Freeman, though, had to take a seat on the bench midway through with 6 points, 4 rebounds. Only played 10 minutes, though, because of a couple of fouls along the way. And we'll see how that plays into the storyline in the second half.
Well, we knew that, you know, it wasn't going to be a big shooting contest here, so neither team's doing anything crazy. But we got 8 blocks from Tulane and a 22 rebounds, you know, to 24. But 11 turnovers for Tulane versus 6 for Memphis is a little surprised because Memphis has been turning the ball over more than most people.
Cheatham has 3 of those 8 blocks for this Tulane defense as they were able to affect Memphis shots early on. Again, in a little bit here, we'll have a chance to check in with Lisa Stockton, head coach of Tulane, as they emerge out of the locker room, get her thoughts on the second half. But this is a valuable game for Tulane. Now that we know that some teams around them have lost, let's check back in with Katie, who's with the head coach.
Hey, Coach, so we saw Memphis make a bit of a comeback in the second quarter. What adjustments need to be made for the Green Wave to make sure that doesn't happen at the end of the game?
Well, I think offensively, we really played very poor offense. I thought we played selfish basketball in the last 5 minutes. Again, coming down, we gave them too many transition baskets. I mean, for us, I just think we've got to play smarter.
And at the beginning of the day, we saw 5 underclassmen start for you for the first time all season. Just how much confidence do you have in your young guns this year?
Well, we had the lead when we had those in. And, you know, Crystal Freeman getting in foul trouble hurt us. So it's going to be good to have her on the floor.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
You heard. Thank you very much, Katie. You heard Crystal Freeman back for this, obviously, the start of the third quarter with those 2 fouls after sitting on the bench for half of the opening half. Well, as a gentle reminder, our coverage here of women's basketball, how quickly it has gone by here, conference play. We got started back first week of January. Our final game of American women's basketball here on ADN will be in Dallas as Aaliyah Budd squares off against Alicia Froling for the final time in conference play. Those 2 fifth-year seniors who have helped define their programs. We will have that, a 7 o'clock Central tip coming up midweek here on ADN. Again, that'll be in Dallas. Our live coverage of American Championships gets underway as we'll be over in Birmingham next weekend, and then swimming and diving championships up in Indy the next week. Look forward to crowning some champions around the American. Right now, it's Memphis on the road with a minute until we start the third quarter, up by 8.
Scores 3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year. Quaso from 30.
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate the second championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Just about set to go. Our appreciation of both head coaches again, and this has been the case all season long in the American and over the years here on ADN. Appreciate the willingness of coaches for each team to join us at various parts of the broadcast. We'll get to hear from today's victorious coach. Not sure whether that'll be Melissa McFerrin or Lisa Stockton upon the conclusion of the game. So stay tuned for that, as Katie Morse will have a chance to talk to our winning coach and a key player as voted on by you on our interactive broadcast for those of you streaming over on Facebook. Again, we've already had our first trivia question sent your way. The answer is 19 double-figure scoring games in 24 total games this year for Crystal Freeman. This is after she averages 2 points, 2 rebounds as a freshman. So how many times has Freeman scored in double figures this year? 19 times. 6 points in that first half despite only playing 10 minutes. But Freeman back on the court to start the second half. Both teams with several players with multiple fouls and a concern to follow throughout the second half here.
Well, Freeman's a game changer, so look for her to insert herself here early and often.
Freeman and Hyde both with multiple fouls. Same can be said for 4 Tigers, including starters Herndon, Schutz, and Porter, as well as Rudy White off the bench. Again, Tigers in black, Tulane in pink. And Tulane gives up 2 shots point blank, but no points for the Tigers. And Davis there just camps out, holds her ground, and manages not to commit the foul. Schutz guarded by Gutierrez. Still plenty of time here on the shot clock. Myra Schutz just 2 points in that first half and unable to find the bucket there. And Freeman dribbled it off the foot of Stinson, and it's going to be a timeout, Lisa Stockton, to maintain this possession.
That's like 3 easy crib shots that Memphis has missed in the early going here. I mean, crib, easy buckets.
Still scoreless to start the third quarter early on. Just about a minute in.
At the American, we know that power isn't for the faint of heart. Power is reserved for the go-getters, the team players, and those who are hungry for victory. We know power because we are power. Join us for the 2019 American Athletic Conference Women's Basketball Championship, March 8th through the 11th at the Mohegan Sun Arena in Uncasville, Connecticut.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American, powered by determination.
Powerful minds, strong in mind, strong in body.
The American is dedicated
to promoting success
through a healthy, powerful mind.
If it is okay to seek help
for injuries we can see,
then it needs to be okay to seek help for injuries we can't see.
Mental health awareness is important because I think a lot of times it goes unnoticed in college athletics.
We look after our bodies, and it's just as important to look after our mental health.
It's time to end the stigma
related to mental health
and seeking help. End the stigma.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle, a big save, a clutch hit,
or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
officials,
student athletes,
coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
Well, if you told most Memphis fans that Jamira Schutz, the great freshman scorer for Memphis, would only have 2 points a minute into the second half, I don't know if they would have guessed that they'd be on the road up by 8 here against Tulane.
Well, that's correct. That's a tall order, and Memphis has not had the kind of scoring from the rest of the players. So this is a positive thing for them. There's,
again, Gutierrez into Hyde. And that ball thought about it. Finally dropped through again for the first-year member of the Green Wave.
Well, she's getting the shooter's roll tonight. She's just laying it softly up on that rim, and it's going in.
Hyde joins Freeman, both playing with multiple fouls here in the third quarter. Hoping to not have her time limited with a third whistle. Jamira shoots, cannot buy a bucket. 1 of 8. And let's see. If that's on shoots, that's her third. And that's why she looks over to Melissa McFerrin, who is going to ask for a clarification on that call.
Was it on shoots? Let's see here. Shoots goes for the shot here, and I think they called it on.
You're right. That's Porter. Porter gets the whistle. Melissa McFerrin pointing out she had a player on her back, and nobody picks up Hyde.
Well, Gutierrez she's always looking to make the pass, and that's why she's going to be a great point guard for them. She hasn't gotten as many assists so far tonight because people haven't completed the shot, but there she is with the steal, the quick pass out, and that's Jones. Jones, yeah.
Dinah Jones, the freshman out of John Curtis, where she went to high school here in New Orleans. And all of a sudden, things clicking for Tulane, taking advantage of turnovers, winning the transition game, and they are back within 2. It's a 6-0 start to the third quarter for the home team.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same. To blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones. Not just to learn, but to experience. To create, solve, build. To explore and express. To lead. Because an education isn't something you get. It's something you do.
Tulane trailed by 8 at the half, back within 2, battling their way back. Before we get back underway, chance to check back in with Katie Morse courtside.
Hey, American fans, put on your thinking caps. We got another one for you here, this time from Memphis. Now, Memphis has a lot of underclassmen leading the way this year, but which freshman scored 3,000 points in high school? We've got the answer coming for you later in the game.
You've got 3 true freshmen for Memphis this year, a couple of transfers this year, your new faces, but I bet a lot of you at home can guess which of the talented true freshmen put up 3K in her high school career. One of the many talented recruits that Melissa McFerrin has signed over the years. We'll have that answer to confirm what most of you suspect a little bit later on in the show.
Surprising storyline for Tulane right now is that Hyde is their leading scorer with 10 points. And Gutierrez didn't have any assists in the first half and comes out, already has 3 to start the second half. So she's starting to inject what she can for them. But one thing they're still lacking is that pure three-point shooter. You know, they had Vorpal shooting it. They had Colby Morgan shooting it. And, you know, Colby Morgan averaged over 20 points a game for them. And they're trying to still fill that hole. Gutierrez isn't one that really rocks and fires as much. So it just always seems that Lisa Stockton always has that three-point shooter. And I'm not sure who that is right now.
Of course, Colby Morgan, hometown girl, had a great career at Tulane. Now she's a bit farther from home over in Switzerland. Both these coaches have produced their fair share of WNBA talent. Again, Lisa Stockton, what a career she has had. Over 500 wins, over 3 decades, including 25 years with Tulane.
Yeah, both of these coaches are amazing. They've given so much to our game and have a lot of longevity in the game at various places, and obviously Stockton at one. But
Tulane swarms the basketball again. They are 3 for 4 this quarter. A 6-0 run to start the half.
Well, Tulane's come out with a different mission here in the second half, and it starts with Gutierrez.
Inside to Hyde. Again, she was the priority over Freeman that time. Freeman's there to attract the defense away. Gets the rebound. Force it up to Gutierrez, and they call her for a walk. Fans wanted a foul.
Oh, she's not too happy either. That's your go player. Quotation, go, go, go. And she not only, I mean, she takes this and strips her off the spin move cleanly. Wants that ball back and just, I guess, traveled.
She gave the ball to Freeman, who played a little game of hot potato, right back to Gutierrez. Stinson able to keep this ball in play. DeMeyer shoots, realized still plenty of time left on the shot clock. That was the first foul on Gutierrez a moment ago. And an offensive board for James.
Yeah, she just does the little things that keep Memphis in this.
And they go back to what was working in that first half. Davis now with 16 points.
That was a great bounce feed to the big girl. I mean, just split the defense and found her open.
And Memphis with another stop.
Well, they still haven't found Freeman yet.
Stinson.
James again.
And they will reset with the fresh shot clock. Memphis just 1 for 6 to start this half. When Davis scored the last trip down, and DeMeyer shoots. Going down hard, will head to the free throw line.
Well, that's an interesting call there. Actually, I feel like she might have jumped back into the defender, but it's an aggressive move by Schutz. It's a veteran move for a freshman. As she gets it, she kind of, yeah, it's a little bit of both.
I think anytime a defender's arms are over a player, they're going to get that call against them.
Correct.
As Schutz is, again, just 1 field goal today, 1 of 9 shooting.
It's not so much that she's had a terrible night. I really don't think she has a lot of confidence in her three-pointer right now because she's had so much positivity taking it off the drive, but she's getting a lot of traffic on the drive now, so she needs to think of something different.
DeMeyer comes away with both of them that trip down. Nice job getting to the rim, just cannot finish. Lofton. And Lofton had her career high against Memphis in Memphis, and active hands there from Herndon to slow down the attack.
That was a picture-perfect quarter court execution by Tulane. They did not hit the shot, but they did everything right in that series.
Just able to beat the 5 count into Anderson. Kayla Anderson, voted on by her teammates to be captain as just a sophomore. Lisa Stockton's seen a lot of great players, but it's the first time at Tulane she had ever had a sophomore voted captain.
Well, there's an inadvertent turnover by Jones that a couple open players to the weak side, but she didn't see him and tossed it out of bounds.
Big part of that is Anderson, after an up and down freshman year, found some constant play. Coming into this new year as a sophomore. Shot clock down to 4. And Tulane's never going to concede a shot. Opposite end, open 3. Freeman with the rebound, the putback. And Memphis still with that 6-point edge.
Well, Freeman was too far under. She had trouble getting her feet reset.
Looking for Davis, but Hyde able to force the turnover. And they're going to see both feet planted outside of that arc by the defender for Memphis, Jasmine Herndon.
That's Lofton going hard to the hole. Yep, she got set, and great defense there by Herndon.
Let's see if we had a technical here.
Nice to see some emotion out of these Memphis players. Both teams are physically fighting hard. It's just doing the little things right now.
Geraldine Smith trying to explain it both to players and coaches.
Not sure what happened there. Lofton's at the line.
Well, you had instead of a charge, they must have changed it here to a defensive foul. As a result, a shooting foul.
James is still pleading their case to the lower official.
Lofton's first point on the day. Again, Tatiana out of Madison, Mississippi, the senior, had a career-high 17 off the bench against Memphis. And here's another look. And I think they got the call right. A defensive foul. Now, the rule is not that you have to have your feet in cement, but you have to establish defensive positioning. And if there's any doubt, that's going to tend to favor the offense. Occupying the space is not the same as actually being firmly planted and growing roots. Shoots, still determined. Just her second score from the floor.
That's an amazing move there. She split 3 defenders and went in with the underhand scoop shot.
And has Memphis back up by 6. And running through the screen. See if this is on Davis.
Just when these guys, Tulane's starting to put the pedal, she just splits them and goes to a home run downtown. So they needed that desperately, Memphis did, because Tulane's starting to pick it up.
Tulane's scoring as of late has come from the free throw line. They've missed their last 5 shots. Now 0 for 6 as Freeman again can't get it to go. Crystal Freeman stuck on the same 6 points she had in the first half of this one.
They're making Freeman work for everything.
Jamira shoots again. Headed back to the free throw line.
So we've seen Memphis enough to kind of see a transformation of their team and of each individual. This one here shoots. She just figured out, you know, how to split and how to go to the hole, and she's really creative with what she's doing. And I really see her growing in every game and her confidence growing. Even though she doesn't have a ton of points, she makes a lot of stuff happen.
She's 3 for 3 from the line now. Has 4 rebounds, 4 assists, finding other ways to stay involved in this ball game. Lisa Stockton talking things over with her veteran staff. Alan Fry for a 13th straight year on this staff. Dosha Woods, 9th straight year. And Beth Dunkenberger, the newest member of her full-time staff, was hired 7 years ago.
Well, that makes you happy if you're a head coach.
Hyde back to the line for the freshman who stood out in the first half. She has 10 points, 5 boards already. Going back to the free throw line for a second time.
Well, I like this move by Hyde because Hyde didn't just settle and try to turn around and shoot it. She went ahead and inserted her body in there and drew that foul. And otherwise, she probably would have missed it.
Again, she's from the state capital next door in Texas. 0 for 2 today from the charity stripe. And Memphis gives up an offensive rebound. It's rebound number 7 for Freeman. Fresh possession here for the home team in pink. And they are going to get a walk on Rudy White, crashing to the floor.
I like Rudy White. She comes in and she's a physical guard, and she throws her body around.
And she doesn't take a lot of shots, but instead she fights for every loose ball.
Yeah, she's definitely their defensive stopper. She came in and grabbed one earlier in the couple series ago, so she's in there to make things happen on defense.
6 rebounds in her 10 minutes off the bench. And unable to save it.
That's Rudy White. She's guarding the player. She's guarding Cheatham, so it goes off Cheatham's.
We'll note 3 Memphis starters with 3 fouls in this ball game right now. They're opting to keep Davis in the game. Tulane with minimal pressure. The turnover. You have Herndon as well as Porter saddled with 3 fouls on the bench. They've combined for just 3 points today, though Herndon with 7 rebounds. Davis hauls that one in. Shot clock halfway down. And Davis headed back to the charity stripe. She's the one player for Memphis in double figures with 16 today.
Yeah, once again, that short corner. Davis steps out in that short corner. It's hard to guard in a 2-3 matchup. There's the short corner. She just goes to work.
Got the better of Hyde on that exchange. Now 5 of 7 from the free throw line. See Lofton and Hyde heading back to the bench.
I just love Davis's spirit. I love her focus. You know, she has that get it done kind of attitude, and she wants the ball.
Well, remember, Tulane started this quarter on a 6-0 run. Since then, it's been dead even now. 8 points apiece this frame. You see the line for Davis. They'll still need more from her. And that was almost too easy and unable to finish Jones.
I think she thought she'd get blocked, so she went short on it.
And Jamira shoots, even with her shooting struggles early, never lost her confidence, and now everything going the way of Memphis, up by a dozen.
Well, she's a big-time penetrator, go player. I mean, she's going the hole every time she can. She's physically strong, and she's tough to stop.
They were getting back on defense and wound up with the ball in their lap. Now Jamira's trying to share the wealth. Davis, always a good one to dial up down low.
That is crazy good. That was crazy good.
Biggest discrepancy on today's scoreboard, favoring Memphis on the road. And White's got to be careful, almost turned it over on her backside. Schutz was able to track that one down.
Well, Tulane needs to kind of be concerned here.
A 10-0 run for the Tigers.
Yeah, they need to make something happen in this fourth quarter.
Tulane, they've missed their last 9. They've missed their last 10, including some bunnies. And it just becomes mental after a while.
I think you know what happens is you're in a little bit of a shock, and then your big player, your go-to player, Freeman's been on the bench in the first half, and she really hasn't gotten her rhythm. They're almost over-trying, overthinking it through, and that's just something that they would make normally, 99% of the time.
Again, to make matters worse, Freeman picks up her 3rd foul there instead of having a chance to celebrate a made layup. It all starts to snowball. Final shot of the third quarter. Memphis goes on a 14-2 run to close out that third quarter after conceding the first 6 points. And the Tigers with a 14-point edge heading into the final 10 minutes of regulation on the road in the Big Easy today.
When everything's a little different, one thing remains the same: the chance to make a real difference. Because the norm here is anything but. Every day our volume grows, every moment a bit more colorful than the last. From a city that's 300 years old, we inspire things that are entirely new. Because that's what creates the change the world desperately needs.
This is our game, our moment, our time. We work hard and play harder. We stay loyal to the game and to our team. We are power, American power. The American, powered by determination.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle, a big save, a clutch hit,
or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
Officials,
student athletes,
Coaches and team representatives.
power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
Profanities or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
Power for life.
The American, power for life.
The American, power for life.
Scores!
3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year. Quaso from 30!
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Well, Memphis on a 10-0 run to close out that third quarter. Tulane misses its final 10 shots of that quarter. Add it all up, a 14-point edge for Memphis on the road. Tigers looking to snap a losing skid. A reminder, this is our penultimate broadcast here on ADN of American women's basketball. Our schedule wraps up in Dallas on Wednesday. Temple against SMU. Coach Cardoza, Coach Mays, and of course, when you think of those two programs, you think of a couple of fifth-year seniors bouncing back from injury this year. And glad we get a chance to see both Aaliyah as well as Alicia one more time here on ADN. There will be still another week of American women's basketball following our last broadcast to figure out the seeding of the conference tournament up in Connecticut. There's still a lot to be determined, although Houston did itself a great service today, picking up a win to hang on to the little bit of a grip it has on 4th place.
Well, Memphis even coming out here and doing what they're doing today is a little shocking because they did get beat pretty bad in their last outing and had some pieces to their puzzle kind of missing. But they have come out and played extremely well and anchored it on Davis and shoots and you know, just really had good combinations. Tulane, though, for them to make this happen, they've got to have Freeman come alive. She has got to forget about being in foul trouble, and she's got to get after it here.
I know Jazz Herndon's family tuning in has to be thrilled at that last score. Not sure what Jazz was doing underneath the basket all alone, but an easy shot for her to add 2 to her resume. Open look on the opposite end, and Tulane hoping for more of that, please. Sierra Cheatham, the sophomore from Houston.
Yeah, yes, exactly. That's a great answer to the call. I'm sure that Lisa Stockton said, we've got to fire this thing up if you're open.
That's the first three-pointer of the game for Tulane. It just would not go for White. And you're out of bounds, so it doesn't matter if you wrestle that ball. It's the only thing Davis has done quasi-wrong all day today.
I was going to say the exact same thing. Every time she touches it, you know, something positive happens.
Just time by rule, when she touched it, something negative had to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Davis, back-to-back 20-point performances today. She's 7 of 10 from the floor to go with 7 rebounds.
It's a big stop for Tulane just to get it rolling here a little bit.
By the way, Schutz picked up the pace, 10 points now. Go with her 4 rebounds, 5 assists. And Tulane not comfortable here with 9 to shoot, and they give it away. Schutz with the steal.
Well, that was a double team that Gutierrez didn't really see and just tossed it up.
Looking for Davis, the turnover. Gutierrez. And that's about as well as you can play defensively there from Jasmine James, the senior. Did not want to commit the foul and give up free throws, just held her ground, and it was enough to affect the shot from Gutierrez.
Just looking at the face of Freeman, that's a frustrated player right there. She's just frustrated with everything, you know, being behind and at home and not having the game that she probably expects out of herself. So keep a close eye on her.
Foul on Memphis on the inbounds play, as James picks up her second. Still 8 minutes to sort out this one, but right now Memphis up by Baker's dozen. Schutz gets a hand in the face. Davis with her 8th rebound.
Freeman's feet weren't even set on that shot. I think she was surprised she was so open that she just chunked it.
You see the numbers for the sophomore.
Well, I like the slow down approach. They don't need to be in a hurry here.
Jamira Schutz scores.
You just knew she was going to make that, though. I mean, she's the kind of kid that wants to be the icebreaker.
Sophomore freshman duo has matched Tulane's 33 points. Gutierrez a little strong. And Davis a rebound shy of a double-double. This clock right now favors Memphis.
Yeah, they're going to have to get out of their zone and get into a man and start trapping. The zone is not going to stop them here.
Down to 5 seconds, and that is your ideal possession when you have a lead on the road. Bring that clock down. Drain a triple. Memphis has hit back-to-back from beyond the arc. And it's a 19-point lead here in New Orleans. Timeout Tulane, 6:44 to go. First two is Schutz, and then the encore from Jazz Herndon.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones. Not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
When everything's a little different, one thing remains the same: the chance to make a real difference. Because the norm here is anything but. Every day our volume grows. Every moment a bit more colorful than the last. From a city that's 300 years old, we inspire things that are entirely new. Because that's what creates the change the world desperately needs.
At the American, we know that power isn't for the faint of heart. Power is reserved for the go-getters, the team players, and those who are hungry for victory. We know power because we are power. Join us for the 2019 American Athletic Conference Women's Basketball Championship, March 8th through the 11th at the Mohegan Sun Arena in Uncasville, Connecticut.
Well, Memphis hits back-to-back triples. Neither team has been able to hit the three ball consistently today, but the Tigers connecting in time to establish a 19-point lead. Give us this opportunity to check back in with Katie Morse.
Thanks, Lincoln. We've seen lots of high energy performances, especially here early on in the fourth quarter. And fans, we want to hear from you once again. Who do you think is today's MVP? We'll interview them at the end of the game when we hear from you. Lincoln?
Thank you very much, Katie. And of course, the answer to our previous question posed to you, the last bit of trivia we had for you, which freshman for the Tigers scored over 3,000 points in her high school career? Of course, that was Jamira Schutz. Averaged 33 points and 11 rebounds in her senior year. Again, when she grew up about an hour away from the Memphis campus. And Jamira with one of the three-pointers as of late to help Stinson and company pull away here in the fourth quarter.
Well, Stinson opened it up early, and then you had Herndon drop one down. And success breeds success. So then they come back to Stinson, and then you got Schutz, kind of the leader of the pack, draining one and saying, hey, why not Herndon?
So Memphis, again, both teams with the youth movement going on as we're back underway here in the fourth quarter. And Tulane, hoping perhaps they can have a highlight package put together at the end of this one.
Well, Jones has had a strong performance today. She's done what she could do. It's just they didn't have their main keys.
She has, again, one of those two triples. She and Cheatham, the two players here at home, able to connect from beyond that arc.
I think Stinson and Herndon for Memphis have had nice games too, where they've been able to help out. Here's a little isolation on the weak side, but they don't fall for it.
So for those of you voting for MVP, I'll mention some of the players that I imagine are in consideration for you. Davis, 20 points, 9 rebounds for Memphis. Schutz has bounced back with 13 points, 4 boards, and 5 assists. You've got 8 points apiece for Stinson and Herndon. Herndon with 7 boards as well. As Melissa McFerrin, again, talking things over with our official Geraldine Smith. And then for Tulane, if they can manage to come back, they are being led by Jones with 11 points and 6 boards. Crystal Freeman in just 23 minutes with 6 points, 7 boards. And then you got Hyde on the bench right now with 4 fouls with 10 points, 5 rebounds.
Well, it's kind of amazing because now if Tulane does lose this game, Memphis is 5-7. And Tulane is 5-7.
And Memphis turns it over.
So as quickly as Tulane could have put themselves in the top half of the bracket real high, now all of a sudden it's a dogfight.
Memphis up by 16 with 6 to go, back on defense.
It's amazing how many teams have not been able to win on their own home floor, where that used to be a huge advantage. The only ones that are undefeated are UConn and UCF at home.
Dinah Jones sticking with it. Offensive rebound. Free throws coming up for Dinah.
Dinah Jones just coming from the weak side, getting those ups.
Stinson whistled for the first time.
Coming off a strong game from UCF, and she's continuing it on today.
Tulane has the 2 Texas teams coming up on their schedule. They'll go to Houston on Wednesday, and then next Sunday, 8 days from today, they'll welcome SMU to town. They still have a road trip to Orlando, and obviously Coach Abe and company will be looking forward to that rematch. And then they close out against Cincinnati before the conference tournament here in New Orleans. As for Memphis, just the way our schedule has panned out, we've seen now their last 3 games.
That was almost a nifty save by Herndon, but she stepped on the line. Yeah, I don't think Tulane brought the defensive intensity that they needed early. Yeah, they're catching up here, but they've got to keep this full court pressure on them and trap them, because these guys are susceptible to the trap.
You know, highlighting how important this win would be for Memphis. It's in part because the next game is also on the road and could pose a challenge as they travel to UConn. So when you are in the thick of that pack, not everybody still has a UConn game left on their schedule. And being able to pick up a win on the road today would certainly help them out. But Tulane cutting into this deficit, looking for another stop here. Freeman helping force the turnover. Back within 11, back within 8. What a stroke from Sierra Cheatham.
Well, when you know that your back's to the wall and all you have to do is fire it up, they're playing loose.
Oh, but they give 2 points right back. Herndon has really dialed it up here in the 4th quarter.
Still plenty of time on the clock.
Hoping to at least bank one in. Cheatham unable to hit back-to-back. They force the switch into Davis, and that is a tie-up. Well, Memphis got what they wanted, but helping clean things up for Tulane was Cheatham.
Well, the script is a little too predictable. They know that they're going in there, so, I mean, she gets doubled up, and that was good. I mean, that was a great strip.
An 11-point lead for Melissa McFerrin's squad. They'll have this basketball coming out of this timeout with 4:05 to go. Double-digit advantage, up by 10, 54-44. And Lincoln Rose, Angela Beck with you here on the American Digital Network. And we're fortunate we get to see these teams throughout the season, how they evolve with their storylines. Obviously, for these 2 teams, we knew it was going to be a couple of young groups, both with a lot to look forward to moving forward.
Oh, definitely. And this game has been everything that we thought it would be. There's still plenty of time for Tulane to come back. Do they play to win or do they play not to lose?
So coming out of the timeout here, we'll see with Memphis having the basketball, whether they can start to regrow an advantage.
Well, it's hard to put a team away when you're not the kind of team that puts teams away, you know. So now you're in a situation where you need to just shut the door and you kind of just hold on.
This is a long 2. Both feet were on the line, but they'll take it. As Cheatham again able to hit.
Well, they found where they want to go with it.
Ball stays in the front court. And possession arrow is going to keep it on this end.
Well, the last 3 minutes and 41 seconds cannot, that's going to be a long time for Melissa McFerrin. This cannot close out quick enough for her. Getting a road win in the American is so tough to do.
You're not coming back? I said come back.
Memphis shooting 50% here in the 4th quarter. Tulane shooting well as well, hitting 4 of their 9 shots. Keeping the pressure on the Tigers to have valuable possessions, able to take advantage of them. Shoots. Other way with Gutierrez.
Well, just watch Gutierrez. Just keep your eye on her. She's flamboyant. She's the one making things happen. And what a great finish there on a great lead pass and just an unbelievable finish.
Well, Jamira at this point, you figure just has to let that go. Instead, an extra opportunity coming up here from Gutierrez at the free throw line, and shoots, picks up the foul. for shoots her third personal. And that is a three-point play from Gutierrez and Tulane. All of a sudden, it's a two-score ball game.
Well, they need to go back into Davis, take their time, be deliberate.
Memphis led by as many as 19. And that's a long two.
That's a huge shot, though. I mean, they made someone else besides Davis or shoot it, and James just drills it.
In Jasmine, we talk so much about the young players, but one of the seniors, there's an answer by one of the aforementioned youngsters, Dinah Jones.
Just a 5-point game.
Both teams shooting 50% or better here in the fourth quarter when it matters the most. And a turnover. Herndon dribbled it off her foot.
And who caused it? Gutierrez. She has the flair for the dramatics. Late in the game, she's the reason that she got the steal and the 2 free throws to seal the deal with UCF. And here she just causes just enough havoc to get the turnover. That's a big turnover right now.
19th turnover for Memphis.
We haven't heard from Crystal Freeman. We'll see if we do.
Crystal Freeman has not scored this half. Well, she probably thought she was fouled on the first effort. Doesn't mind the no call now that she gets the bucket and heads to the free throw line.
Well, that time they ran an ISO, an isolation for her here on the side. She goes up and she gets the body of Herndon, but no call.
And a moment later, Davis gets whistled for that effort. That'll be her third.
And just like that, we have a one-possession game.
It was Crystal Freeman's first 2 points in her last 18 minutes on the floor.
We'll see how Memphis can handle this now. They need to get Schutz the possession or Davis inside and just run their offense.
Timeout, Memphis. You see the run over the past 4.5 minutes. Tulane's made 4 of their last 5. Just about everything going the way of Tulane just when it looked like they were going to be picking up a loss on their home court.
Well, Tulane picked up, their intensity. I thought that the full court press would cause them problems. They just didn't bring it on until they needed to at the end, but maybe she knew how much energy they had left. But great job of just putting the press on them and making things happen.
Well, here comes the green wave with a wave of scoring from downtown.
Well, Cheatham she just got in her groove. She's so smooth, and then you got Jones, Cheatham and Jones just carrying the load for the guards. They weren't able to go inside to Freeman, so they just took over.
Tulane was 0 of 6 from downtown for the first 3 quarters. Here in the fourth quarter, 4 of 7. And they've made it a 1-score ball game, keeping the pressure here on Memphis.
Well, Herndon's a right-handed guard. Like, she doesn't like to go left. And so she knows that, and she's picking her apart right now.
Got some help there from Cheatham defensively. And Schutz goes into her bench, fighting for the loose ball, and there is a foul for a push. I'll say she was nudged by one of the Tulane players in pink today. And a little hip check is the call on Dinah Jones. So a fresh shot clock here for Memphis, hanging on to the last 3 points of what was a 19-point advantage.
Watch the Freeman-Davis matchup right there. A lot of dribbling. It's going to be an isolation here, 2-man game.
Shot clock at 8. Jamira.
Yep, total clear out for her. Tough shot by her.
Can Memphis now come up with a defensive stop? Everybody on the court right now for Memphis has played over a half hour. And there you see the fresh legs of Freeman.
Well, Freeman just got underneath and knew she had to come up with that rebound. But watch Herndon, she don't want to put that ball in her left hand.
Stinson headed to the free throw line.
Not a good foul.
Again, Memphis has just played an 8-player rotation today. Only one player off the bench. Rudy White has played 10 minutes or more to help spell these starters.
Still a one-possession game, 45 seconds. I definitely go down and try to get a quick 2 if I can.
Now I say that Jasmine James has been playing starters minutes, 32 minutes off the bench today, and plays supporter who's been saddled with fouls. One more here for Stinson.
Pressure free throws.
This would make it a 2-score lead. And we have a lane violation that's going to give her another chance.
As a coach, you just hate to see that lane violation in this situation. It's so critical. Both shots have been on the back of the rim. Let's see if she can correct that.
Remember, these two teams went to overtime in Memphis last month. Able to take advantage. It is a 2-score lead for Memphis inside the final minute.
See, Stinson's not happy with herself only hitting one of those 2, but still puts him in a 2-possession game. Right now, what I do is go in and get a quick 2 or get a good shot. Just if I take a 3, if I got an open play, I'll take it. But try to get it quickly, under 10 seconds if I can, and then what you want to do is try to get a steal or a foul.
Tulane not ready to concede this one here at home. They had some dramatic moments to pull off that win against UCF on Wednesday. Can they do it again here?
Well, you're going to send all 5 to the boards. Whoever shoots it, you should have everybody at the rim because it's not going to matter. So you have to try to get the rebound and put back. So who can we expect to shoot it? Probably Cheatham. If she's open, she's probably going to stroke it. Or obviously Crystal Freeman. Let's see.
Gutierrez going straight to the rim.
There's the quick 2 that we called for.
Cuts the deficit in half.
So now Memphis is probably going to take it on their end. No timeout.
It's 5 points today for Gutierrez in her second career start. She and her teammates have made 6 of their last 8 shots, keeping hope alive here down the stretch.
So is there a timeout here?
I think after the score, Tulane immediately asked for the timeout. Now they're going to be able to set up their defense against Memphis. Well, I can't recall what they would be going back to look at.
It's a pretty clean shot, so I don't know if there was more time.
There are any recent 3-pointers in question. I don't think they're checking to see if the baseball broadcast has started yet across campus. Okay. So the best guess from our folks in the truck is whether the clock is where it should be. Has to stop after the made bucket.
So now you have about 9.8 seconds more than the shot clock. I'm going to go ahead and try to get a steal, or I'm going to foul their worst free throw shooter.
And Memphis calls a timeout, a full timeout. They want to make sure that they Avoid the turnover bug that has bitten them several times here in the second half. 19 turnovers have led to 20 points gift wrapped for Tulane today.
I wouldn't be afraid to put Jada Stinson to the line. She struggled a little bit the last time. I wouldn't want Schutz there. I wouldn't want Davis there. Davis is a 70% free throw shooter, so you got to look at maybe Porter. Look at Porter, Stinson, or Herndon.
Herndon has not shot free throws today. Stinson and James are both 1 for 2 apiece. Schutz and Davis have been a lot more consistent. Davis, by the way, does have a double-double again. 20 points, 10 rebounds. And Jamira Schutz, after a slow start, 15 points, 4 boards, 5 assists. Tulane being led by Jones with her 15. And also in double figures, Freeman and Cheatham. Freeman a rebound shy of a double-double. Jones 3 rebounds shy of a double-double.
Yeah, just as I thought, Memphis takes it out on their end. And watch Gutierrez, because she's always got something going on here.
Yeah, able to advance the ball into the front court.
They could try to fake a charge here, too. And Gutierrez might be the one to do it.
With a 2-point lead and 8 seconds separating the two clocks, it will be Jamira Schutz going to line. That was the 5th foul. And let's see if Lisa Stockton wanted that foul on Schutz. She talks to Dinah Jones, her freshman.
Yeah, Schutz is...
I'm sorry, that was just the 4th team foul on Tulane, so they could have fouled anybody they wanted to right there. This is the one that'll lead to free throws. Who touched it last? No need for free throws. They're going to review it. They will make sure the last touch was, in fact, off of Memphis, but that is the original call here on the floor. Oh, what a break that would be. You saw they had no interest in fouling Jamira Schutz and putting her at the line. They wanted to pressure her to pass it out, and they may have forced a turnover.
Well, that's good coaching that they kept the trap on her. You got to make somebody else try to beat you. They're going to review this now to make sure that they're right, but that was good defense by Tulane, not to put her in that situation or let her get to the rim.
My guess is because of where that occurred, over in front of the Memphis bench, it's going to be hard to find a decisive camera angle, and that's why it's so important that the initial call went the way of Tulane. You would figure whatever the initial call was is what could stand. Question is, who touches it last? That looks like a pink elbow, but you say so conclusively.
Doesn't look like
it. Also had the foot of Herndon in the area. Again, they have to see something 100%.
Well, the interesting part is the back official was the one that actually overturned that call, but his angle was, he was inside. He wasn't on the inline, so that'll be interesting.
Now, Alyssa McFerrin's a pretty honest person, and her instinct immediately was that it was not the right call.
Yeah, I mean, she would let them have it if no, not. Everyone's fighting for this call.
And they do overturn it. They say last touch by, in fact, as we saw that elbow of a player in pink. And, well, Memphis, at least for a moment, has caught a break. But they're still down to just a 2-point lead. And there almost was another one. Crystal Freeman came flying in.
Well, Schutz doesn't look as comfortable in that trap as you would think. She's just a freshman. It's a lot of pressure. You got your freshman handling it, but they're trapping her.
Memphis has their senior inbounding the ball here. James into Stinson.
They're going to have to foul her.
And they want to put James at the line.
So all that in 22 seconds left. James has to hit 2 to make it a 2-possession game.
Jasmine James has done her work on the boards. 8 rebounds today. Just taken 4 shots. Has 3 points to show for her outing.
She's a 54% free throw shooter, but really has only been to the line 11 times this year. So
6 of 11.
That's not very many. But who cares?
Money. One more free throw takes it back to a 2-score ball game. Look how calm she is.
She looks super calm, and why didn't you bring me here earlier? Wow. Big buckets there.
Senior out of Ontario. Oh, Gutierrez may have gotten away with a double dribble. Taking it to the rim. Memphis just did not want to commit a foul. And Schutz will go to the line with 10.9. A chance perhaps to lock this one up if she can make both.
Well, but a bunch of bodies flying on that one.
Tulane did the right thing, down by 4. Go straight to the rim. You figure Memphis is not going to contest that shot, not wanting to risk giving up free throws.
Jones goes out with that foul. She had a very good game for them.
17 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists before she fouls out. And again, the freshman shoots, someone you're so comfortable with at the line. 5 for 5 from the free throw line. Mentioned that brilliant high school career of her, broke the state tournament in Tennessee, scoring record. Quarterfinal game, put up 43 points, broke that record the following night with 46 points. A bit lower scoring today from Schutz, but it is back to a 2-possession advantage here for Memphis. Trying to hold off Tulane, who trailed by as many as 19 this half.
Look for Tulane to put in the ball and get a quick 2. That's all they need. I mean, get a quick 2 and then get a quick foul. Just drive to the basket, make somebody stop you.
Remember, Tulane had that 0 for 10 stretch where Memphis went on a huge run. Otherwise, Tulane here in the fourth quarter has outscored Memphis 29-19. Just too big of a hill to climb potentially.
Yep, just too little, too late. I mean, you just wonder why did it take so long? Why didn't you put it into gear? It seemed like when they did put it into gear, amazing things happened.
Remember, they had a couple of layups that for whatever reason just would not go, and even one of those could have made this a different situation right here.
I want to go back to Memphis, though. Memphis did an outstanding job, and Schutz she's amazing. She's a go-to girl. And then you got Davis just cleaning up around the rim. Jada Stinson, she had a solid performance with Herndon doing great things. Jasmine James coming in and hitting those 2 free. I mean, they had contribution from everybody, and they played about as good as I've seen them.
James hits those free throws. They now pull her out. They bring White in for her defense, along with Stinson, Herndon, Schutz, and Davis. Tulane just needs any score they can get quickly. Gutierrez wouldn't mind a trip to the free throw line. Instead, Schutz with the steal, and that should do it. Jamira Schutz taking matters into her own hands. Claims possession and now heads to the line. A chance to put this one away.
Well, Schutz just, she's got a knack. She's got a high IQ. She thinks a lot of herself, which, man, that's what you want if you're a coach, is someone that's got the confidence to take the shots and make it happen.
I believe it's 16 second half points now for Jamira Schutz after a slow first half. It's a 2-possession ball game, up by 6. But the Memphis Tigers are going to come to New Orleans and knock off the Green Wave.
Well, a tough loss for Tulane after that unbelievable win against UCF. But credit Memphis for coming in here and hanging in there and making it happen.
Memphis lost on its home court in overtime to these women from New Orleans. They returned the favor here in regulation. Tulane put up a fight, but runs out of time. And as a result, in a moment, Katie Morse will have a chance to check in with the victorious head coach, Melissa McFerrin, along with one of your standout Tigers on the day today here on the American Digital Network. We'll step aside for a moment. Again, when we come back, a chance to hear from the Tigers as they're victorious on the road today.
Scores! 3 strikeouts in a row.
dominance for a 4th straight year. Quaso from 30.
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Welcome back here on the American Digital Network. Memphis just wrapped up a 6-point win over Tulane, 65-59, and Katie Morris is with the victorious head coach, Melissa McFerrin.
Thank you, Lincoln. Coach, your team came back with a vengeance in the second half. You weren't going to leave here without that win. What are you most pleased with today?
Well, I'm really pleased that we built a 20-point lead. I mean, that we had great execution down the stretch. I thought as they started to come back, I thought Jamira Schutz really just took over the game and made her free throws, made tough shots going to the basket. And I'm just pleased. Getting on the road and getting a win is very, very difficult. So excited for our team. We needed this one. We did not forget that home loss that we had in overtime.
And speaking of road wins, you're on the road once again heading up to UConn. So how can you use this for next week?
Well, I say this all the time, but, you know, UConn magnifies every mistake that you make. So we certainly made some mistakes today, and we just have to understand you make those mistakes against one of the top 5 teams in the country, they're going to make you pay. So I think we'll have their attention this week about passing, catching, going to the ball, not making silly turnovers.
Well, Coach, congratulations on the win. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
Lincoln?
Thank you very much. And again, a 20-point performance from Davis to go with 10 rebounds, another double-double for her. Jamira Schutz, 19 points, and another 10 from Herndon, your 3 in double digits. And let's check back in with Katie.
Thank you, Lincoln. I'm here with Elena Davis. So congratulations on the win. First of all, news to you, you were voted today's MVP. So congratulations.
Thank you.
So how do you feel about you and your team's performance today?
I thought it was great. You know, we started off slow, but we kept our determination and we just kept playing, you know.
Really big day for you. You had a lot of big plays under the rim, a lot of great rebounds. What are you most pleased with your performance?
Probably just finishing, because I think I did really good with my field goals today.
And so heading into next week, you got a big game next week against UConn. What are you going to use today to carry into that game?
Probably just rebounding and finishing around the rim. That's it.
Awesome. And one more question for you. So your team seems to be led by a lot of underclassmen, yourself included. Is there pressure there to kind of be the leaders of the team, or is it just another day at the office for you?
Honestly, I just think it's another day at the office. You know, somebody has to step up, so why not?
Awesome. Well, congratulations on the win and MVP. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
Katie, thank you. Great to hear from Ms. Davis. And, of course, a little cameo there from Jamira Schutz at the end. Again, Schutz helped close it out on a high note, finished with 19 points, making all 8 of her free throws in some clutch time, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. Well, a big thanks to our entire ADN crew. Tigers with the win in New Orleans, 65-59, split the regular season, 2 meetings with the Tulane Green Wave. For Angela Beck, Katie Morris, I'm Lincoln Rose. One final broadcast of women's basketball this year here on ADN. It'll be Wednesday in Dallas as Temple gives a visit to SMU. But the Tigers victorious on the road on a Saturday here in the Big Easy.